good evening, wherever you may be watching this video. Today, I want to discuss a post flare drop era. We only have two more flare drops left in the total flare drop schedule. We get two in December. We've already gotten one, so we have one left in December. And then we have our final one coming in January 2026. And after that, flare holders will have to really pay attention to what strategies that they can employ to continue to earn a yield now that the free yield era of the flare network is over, and see what else the network has to offer. And there's plenty of applications going live that may just fit that criteria. So with that being said, let's get right into today's content. All right, first things first, we need to define what real yield actually means. When you hear real yield, think of yield or profit that is generated by the protocol's usage, demand of that protocol, utilization of said protocol, not token inflation, not minting new tokens out of thin air, nothing like that. Actual utilization of said platform. A lot of these platforms also tend to have a profit sharing type mechanism where a percentage of the fees generated by the protocol get routed back to either liquidity providers or token holders of governance tokens. So that those platform specific tokens that mean something on that platform. If you hold those, then you get rights to a share of the protocol fees. That's always great because that means that you are able to benefit from others using said protocols. So the more that protocol is used, the more those profit sharing fees increase, the more you in turn, as a participant in that profit sharing mechanism, get paid. That is going to be extremely important moving forward in Flare's history, Flare's maturation. There's no more Flare drops where every month you can guarantee a certain amount of yield to be generated by the holdings of your tokens. So now that we've defined what real yield is, let's take a look at applications that may fall under the real yield category so that we can get a better idea of what applications we should look into to put our assets to work. So off top, I'm definitely looking at DEX platforms and providing liquidity to blue chip pools, whether they're paired with each other or paired with a stablecoin. Being able to master setting the perfect ranges within these blue chip asset pools will also help with driving a certain amount of profitability and make being a liquidity provider a very lucrative aspect to make sure you include in your real yield generating plan. Now, that's not the only thing that I would look at in terms of the DEX platforms. The two top DEXs that we have on the Flare network, being Enosis and SparkDex, also have a profit sharing type mechanism associated with their platforms. So, starting with Enosis, you have the APY cloud, where if you stake their governance tokens, Apsis and Helion, HLN or APS, you will be able to earn a certain amount of the fees that are generated by the platforms under the Enosis umbrella. So DEX V3, DEX V2, Aramis, loans, those protocols under the Enosis umbrella will generate fees that get routed, or a percentage of them get routed back to the APY cloud contract and then distributed to those who are staking in the governance pools based on your share of the tokens in those pools, whether it's Heliant or Apsis. So that is something that I am definitely going to be including in my overall strategy of going after real yield. A Gnosis platform or the Gnosis Dex is heavily used. I like being in LPs on their platform already, so I'm earning there. In addition to being able to take some of those Apsis rewards that I'm earning in a couple of the pools that I'm in and staking them in the governance pool to further compound the yield that I'm earning with the APY cloud. So that is definitely something that I would pay attention to. On the Spark Deck side of things, they have the Spark token that you can stake and earn a profit share from the platform fees as well. So, from a DEX perspective, you definitely have options, and that is something that I would consider moving forward in the post flare drop era. So, we have trading fees from liquidity providing, we have profit sharing from the same DEX platforms if you hold their governance tokens and you stake them in the governance pools. The third category that I think we really need to pay attention to is yield trading. So just a few days ago, we had Spectra Finance go live on the Flare network, which is extremely exciting because now we have fixed yield opportunities available on the Flare network, starting with S Flare. So if you are someone who is not really into the variable yield that can be generated on the other categories that I mentioned in this video, this fixed yield option offered through Spectra Finance might be something specifically for you. So I won't go into full detail what yield tokenization is because it's a pretty hefty topic and might require a couple of videos. So be sure to stay on the lookout for my yield tokenization mini series. Basically, all yield tokenization is taking a yield bearing asset such as S Flare and separating it into two parts. You have the principal asset or the principal token, denominated as a PT, and then you have the yield associated with the underlying asset, which will be called the yield token or YT. To really put things into simple terms, yield tokenization allows you to split the ownership of the asset between the principal and the yield. So think of an orange tree being the principal token in this case, and the oranges produced by the orange tree, which would be the yield token or YT in this case. Platforms like Spectra essentially let you buy the orange tree or the PT at a discount. As long as you hold that PT to maturity, you can redeem it at the full price of that underlying asset, which allows you to earn a fixed rate on yield. The concept of yield tokenization isn't necessarily new, but it's definitely new for the Flare network. So I expect there to be a little bit of a learning curve, at least at the beginning, before people really get comfortable with a platform such as Spectra. And then once people realize how powerful Spectra can be, that's probably when the floodgates will open. So definitely more to come around yield tokenization. That was just a very watered down explanation. Expect more in detail explanation in my future series. Another protocol that I want to discuss is Firelight, which also recently went live earlier this week. Firelight is a basically a DeFi insurance protocol where stakers of FXRP will receive staked XRP or STXRP, and by having their XRP staked in the Firelight launch vault, they will be able to earn protocol fees that are paid by other DeFi protocols for the insurance that Firelight can offer. Now, in phase one, we won't be generating real yield, but we will be earning points that can be redeemed for a particular value in the future. But phase two, which is set to begin in February of 2026, we will start to earn real yield, which will be very powerful. It's already been hinted at what types of protocols we can expect to be getting insurance from Firelight. So we'll probably learn more as we get closer to phase two becoming a real thing. And we'll find out what level of yield our staked XRP will be earning in the Firelight Vault. So that's definitely something I'll be paying attention to. One final category that I want to cover in terms of real yield generation is the F asset protocol. If you are staking Flare in the F asset collateral pool, that currently is a really good gauge of real yield and demand in terms of FXRP minting. So if you're supplying Flare collateral to any of these pools that the agents are running, then you are earning a piece of the fees that are generated by minting F assets or FXRP in the form of FXRP. That may change with Flare 2.0, but for now, this is, in my opinion, another good way to earn a real yield, albeit it may be small in comparison to some of these other platforms. I do think being able to directly earn FXRP in a passive fashion is nothing to scoff at, no matter what the amounts are. That's pretty amazing, in my opinion, to be able to take part in some of those fees that are generated and add that to your bag, especially if you want to, over time, build an FXRP bag. With the way things are going, I'm sure there will be plenty of other dApps that can be included in this real yield generation umbrella and really give Flare Network participants more optionality on how they go about generating their yields. this is just what I would want to include for now. So this is where I see things going moving forward in a post flare drop era. I think a lot of people are going to have to really start studying up on what these dApps are and get educated on how to implement some strategies, some being super basic and others can definitely lean on the more advanced side of things. But the good thing that I'm saying about the Flare network is that there is definitely something for everybody. If you don't want to dive into the DGN aspects of some of these more advanced strategies, you don't have to. If you want to be a little bit more conservative and still earn a passive solid yield, you can do that. If you are somewhere in the middle where you dabble in the more advanced stuff, but you're still at the end of the day very conservative, there are strategies for you as well that you can employ. So there is something for everybody on the Flare network, and it's only going to grow as more of these applications come online and we really start looking at what real yield means on the Flare network and what that can generate you. So these are my thoughts. This is what I'm thinking right now. A lot of these strategies that I've mentioned today in this video, I'm already employing, or I've already put myself in position to be able to take advantage of. So hopefully this video sparks some ideas for you to start doing the same. May not have to do everything that I'm doing, but as long as you put a strategy together that works for you, that's all that matters. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you found it informative, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.